So what a weekend of boxing. Dillian Whyte is back to winning ways, and Heaney and Pauls, well, they have a thriller in Birmingham. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to On My Head, I hope you're well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So, a great weekend of boxing we just had. Dillian Whyte against a hammer in Dublin this last weekend. Yeah, it was a good win for Dillian Whyte. He's back and he's talking his talk again, calling out different fighters, and I think they're trying to line up Dillian Whyte against Joe Joyce and trying to get them on the Saudi card as well. Now, Joe Joyce, he fought in that Magnificent Seven, a great card by Queensberry in Birmingham over the weekend on Saturday night, and I've got to say, I wasn't that impressed with his performance at all. He came in, I think he was about 3 stone heavier than his opponent Cash Ali, who was a decent fighter. He's been in with a lot of decent fighters for sparring sessions and things like that. And he was, 3 stone lighter, but you could tell his movement was a lot better. He was catching Joe Joyce with a right hand, an overhead right hand, time and time again. But Joe Joyce was just there, and it's almost like he was plodding along. It was just, his movement was just great. I mean, you can't always expect great movement from heavyweights, but in terms of Joe Joyce, it just didn't look good. And yes, he eventually got the knockout there, knockdown. I think it was in the 10th round, wasn't it? 9th or 10th round. But it just didn't go. I don't think it was that impressive, and I don't think he really impressed Frank Warren either. But, it was a good comeback win, but I thought it just, when you're talking about Joe Joyce, because he's saying he wants to be, in the Saudi cards, let's say he wants to be in that elite, he wants to be fighting, Joe Parkers of this world, or Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury or whatever, then you kind of think, you look at that performance and you think, no. And, what is it? He's in late 30s now, so he hasn't got a lot of time left, really, to be an effective heavyweight. I just thought that any other boxer would just rip him apart, really, on that performance. And you would have thought, constantly being tagged by that overhand right, you would have thought somebody should have sorted that out by now. It just didn't look that impressive. Great that he got the win, and great that he was able to stay in there and use his big size, his juggernaut size, just to get through the rounds and weather the storms, let's say, and put Cash Ali under pressure. I thought Cash Ali had a decent fight, actually. Whilst he came unstuck in the end, I thought in terms of size and also the levels at which they should be at, I thought Cash Ali did himself proud. But I just don't think it was an impressive display from Joe Joyce. Some other fights on the card were exceptional. Really, really good. Liam Davis, McGann. There were just so many. I got to say, Queensberry in the Magnificent Seven series, I'm really impressed with. But the highlight for me was the British middleweight title fight between Heaney and Pauls. And I got to say, I hadn't seen too much of Pauls, but when he came in, and I thought this is going to be a banger straight away. Heaney seemed to take quite a few of the early rounds. Paul started to come back a little bit in round of sort of 4 and 5 a little bit. Then I think it was like 6, 7, 8. Paul's was just, he had Heaney on the ropes, as it were, almost on the canvas. It was just a banging session. It really was. And then right at the end, it went the full distance on points, and it was a draw. And yeah, you can kind of see how it was a draw, but you could also see how Heaney could say, well, yeah, I kind of won that on the rounds, on the overall round. But in terms of him being impressive, imposing yourself on your opponent, but also giving you like a highlight reel to give the judges something to think about, I think Pauls gave more of that. He definitely gave more than that, especially in rounds 7 and 8, I think it was. Heaney was just a gnat's hair away from being out of there. It was a fantastic display. I suppose I really wanted to make this point. When we talk about boxing, when I talk about boxing, it's very easy just to talk about the big world title fights, all the big heavyweight fights, all the Saudi card now. We kind of talk about boxing in terms of what's going to make a viral clip or what's going to make a great YouTube video because everybody's talking about AJ or Ngannou or Fury or whatever. But some of the best boxing, You know, if you bring it down a few divisions, some of the best boxing is not with the headline names. It's actually in the lesser names as well. And if you got British title fights, usually they are bangers. Usually they are great. You got Fabio Wardley against Clark coming up. That'll be a great fight as well. So watch out for that. But also we had some great fights over in the States. Maxie Hughes against Cepeda. What a great fight that turned out to be as well. It was a very, very decent weekend of boxing, if you're able to watch it, of course. Yeah, sometimes you get the headline news, and these fights kind of go under the radar. And maybe it's only those boxing fans who are kind of really into boxing that look at these fights more and more. But in many ways, they are the ones that you should be really watching, and not the big heavyweights, let's say. These are the fights that really can give you entertainment. And I'll say again, some of the fights on the undercard of Heaney and Paul's were just fantastic, but the main event just lived up to expectation, and more so, and over-delivered. Fantastic display for all the fighters, I got to say. You know, I don't usually heap praise on all the fighters, but in terms of the overall spectacle, great, and lots of praise to Queensberry as well. But the point is that you can get a great boxing experience from other divisions, and just at the regional level, let's say at the national level, you could have great experiences. And I would kind of always fall back to when I was a kid growing up watching boxing. I was always shown that the blue ribbon divisions of boxing were from the lightweights to the middleweights. That's the sweet spot of boxing science, let's say. But always the lightweights and the middleweights, you always seem to get great contests, because it's a perfect mix of body mass, weight, technique, punching power, punch resistance, and just overall cardio. It just seems to be that perfect division. Certainly in lightweight, but I would definitely go up to middleweight as well. I mean, some of my favourite fighters of all time have come from the lightweights and have come from the middleweights as well. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. But a great weekend of boxing. It's very easy to get distracted by the big, huge heavyweight fights especially, but many fights in the lighter divisions all over the world. They are bangers. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos, and I will catch you again on another video coming very soon. Bye now.